What's going on, guys? It's David Piatek and Lourdes Fernando, and today we're going to talk about why Lourdes moved away from Airbnb on her property with a VA home loan. So, Lourdes, a lot of people don't realize that if you use your VA home loan, you could actually turn that property into an investment property without refinancing out of a VA loan. And on top of that, you could buy a multifamily. So, like in your case, you have 4 units and you Airbnb that. Now, I just learned today that this is why we're doing the video. Lourdes is like, I'm moving away from the Airbnb model, which I've been a huge fan of. So, Lourdes, what's going on?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of changes within this last year. So I've been watching very carefully. I had previously I had two Airbnbs that were, bread and butter during the summer months in my area. They were thriving, making a good enough money to be able to do whatever I needed to do during the off season, but still be able to proceed, to have a really good cash flow. Now, it's very important. Every market is different, but to review your Airbnbs, look at the notes, look at the comments, and see if there's anything that your specific property is not leading up to, because that would be number one. You want to make sure that you have good customer service. If it's not that, then you need to actually figure out what is the problem. So that's what I did. I've been doing an analysis over last year. It wasn't that great either, but at least I was able to break even for the year as far as expenses, etc. I did take off one property at the beginning of this year, and I've been watching it very closely what the other one's been performing at. So it's always good to see one, does it outweigh two? Can you do something else? Like I have my other Airbnb that I took off. I have a tenant in there now. That's going to be 3 months. So it's still short term, but it's not as long as, it's not like the Airbnb model, a couple days. So that one, I think will be a lot better because the numbers are double what my Airbnb is making if I rent
On
it
the
out
short
for
term?
on the midterm.
On the midterm rentals. Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So, if for everyone that's out there watching, if you guys don't know, I am a loan officer. So, if you want to schedule a call with me and use your VA loan to do these things, please, in the description down below, click the link, schedule the call. Lourdes is a realtor, both veterans. And this is why we do this. We give back to the veteran community, share our experiences and our knowledge, so you guys could actually gain from that. And that's a pretty big, sell, Lourdes, in the sense that we still see a lot of people saying, "Hey, Airbnb is the way to go. You can double your money." But like you said, people have to be really careful about the market and investing. And we did a whole investor series. It's not just about like, oh, set it and forget it. Like, well, if this is the way I'm going to do it, you can't be stuck in your ways because those numbers shift, right? And you saw a change in that to this midterm rental model. So break down like what demographic that is, and I guess in your case, how does that change your maybe taxes? You could talk a little bit about. I know we're not CPAs, but like, where's the advantage of what you're doing now?
Okay. So in certain areas, in certain cities, so I live in the city of Chicago, you do need a permit if you do want to do short-term rentals. So that is under 30 days. You don't need a permit if it's over 32 days. Then you don't need a permit for that. So one, you do have a different market there. Your target market are traveling nurses, your travel nurses, travel individuals, people who are in transition from buying their home. So that, maybe they sold their home, they're looking to purchase another home, or just, they want to find a rental. So people who need housing fast, those are, and for an extended period of time. So those are the people that are my target market. Also, insurance claims, they're displaced from their homes. Insurance companies reach out and say, like, hey, we see it. We need something for 3 months, 4 months, whatever the case might be. That is also the midterm market.
Wow. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity out there. And in some areas too, Loris, when I look, like we were recently went on a vacation and I looked up Airbnbs, and it was like market was over flooded in a way with these properties. So is that something that people should be concerned about without, when weighing those options?
Yeah, so I think when you are determining what strategy is going to work best for you is to go on these midterm, short-term rental sites and seeing exactly what you said. How much inventory is there? Because everybody and their mothers, no, I shouldn't say it, everybody started, I'm going to do, I'm going to rent out a room. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So it got oversaturated with the amount of availability. So when you have more inventory, your prices won't go down
Right.
if you're looking for a specific thing. So my Airbnbs are 4 bedroom, 2 baths. So it's for larger parties. So we do get larger parties in there, which is way cheaper staying here than going into a hotel where you got to pay for individual rooms and you have, the kitchen, the living room, etc. So yeah, and everything is furnished. And with the Airbnbs, they're professionally managed, and then with the midterms, I manage those myself.
Oh, gotcha, and because I'm assuming there's a different fee structure to that, and probably Airbnbs. This, I don't know too much about it, but I'm saying, thinking logically, is that Airbnb's high turnover, so you don't want to be going there every day cleaning, or every couple days cleaning, versus like, hey, someone stay here for a month. That's pretty simple to do. So that's pretty genius. And what are other things that you're seeing as far as maybe a deferred maintenance piece? And is there an advantage to having less people transition in on out of your units? Do you see a difference in that?
Yeah, I think there's more of a personal, like with a personal relationship with your tenants when they're month to month, or they're just there for a short period of time versus the Airbnb. I never see them. I never talk to them. I don't. I see them maybe in passing. I'm like, "Oh, are you Lourdes?" I'm like, "Hey, my face is up there, but I don't run it. My management company does." "Oh, you're very responsive." "Oh, yeah, thank you. Let me know if you need anything." And I just go out the way if they see me in passing. But but yeah, I think that there is more of that bond that you create if it's midterm, because midterms, of course, if any problems arise, they're gonna bring it up to you right away. And that's another communication aspect. The customer service level is still there. I want to make sure that they have a really good experience. They feel at home, whether they're staying here short term or midterm or long term, it doesn't matter. I just want to make sure that they feel supported. Anything that they need, I immediately provide. My goal is I respond within a 2-hour time frame, unless I'm traveling, and I let them know, hey, I'm traveling, etc. So that's something. Another thing that's very important to tenants is a safety aspect. So I had like, if my gate is not functioning properly and we need to access the back gate or whatever the case might be, I do communicate that with all my tenants and just let them know, like, hey, I'm working on it. Just want to give you a heads up. This is a temporary solution, like maybe a possible, like a different lock or whatever the case might be. So just making sure that that customer service aspect is still there.
That's awesome. And like, yeah, and I want to touch base on something important you said a little bit earlier. And I was just thinking about, so like in Chicago, you require a license, and I'm assuming that if you have a multifamily, you could only rent out so many of the units depending
Mhm.
on what you have, unless you have a hardship, right? So that's kind of like a loophole in a way for that. But I have a property somewhere else where they don't allow short-term rentals at all, so the village doesn't allow it. Okay, so to your point, that, and on top of that, if you look at a lot of condominiums, a lot of associations across the country have stopped allowing for short-term rentals of 30 days or less, right? So the strategy of going, let's say you own a home, you may be in a high traffic area and you're looking for these, 30-day plus tenants. That's, one thing you have to research. And two, Lourdes, is there more 30-day plus traveling people looking for places versus like the short-term Airbnb? Because if your whole model is shifting, right? And what happens if you don't have a tenant for a month or two? How do you prepare for that, or what happens?
Yeah, so that's great. Every single market and area is completely different. So I live in a place where there's a lot of hospitals. There is
Oh, a
a lot
ton,
of
yeah.
people in transition. So my market will be very different from the west side to the south side of Chicago. It is completely night and day. So it's very important for you to understand your demographics and what is attracting people to your specific location. So that should be number one, what you start to research, because that's how I shifted over quickly to the from a long-term tenant to the midterm tenancy, because I said, wow, look what I have in my area. So that's what drove me to go to that midterm. Now, because I have the midterm I have is a small 2 bedroom, 1 bath. I either have my family stay there for extended period of time, or I put it up there. It just depends on what that situation is. But that one, I would have consistent bookings on there. when I didn't have my family staying. So that can be a great model. So that when I start to see a decrease in bookings for my Airbnb, that's why earlier this year I took off one of my Airbnbs. I said I'm gonna put that um, on a more like on 3-day plus. However, it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, which a lot of people are not looking for 4-bedroom, 2 baths outside of the insurance companies and what have you. So I watch my data very carefully, who's applying for these, et cetera. The person who I have in there now is in transition. You know, his wife is pregnant. They're looking to purchase a home. They need to save a little bit of money before they can make that transition. So that's why they're staying here.
Gotcha. Yeah. So definitely a lot of it. And what I like about your strategy, and I think this applies to everybody that's out there, that if you're thinking about doing this, or hey, you're buying a multifamily, you have a multifamily, is you experimented with different things early on, right? I remember you were like, oh, I have a long-term tenant in this one, I have an Airbnb in this one, and then I have the midterm rentals. And it's important to kind of test those waters, right? Do a little bit of risk to that. That's my personal opinion, because then you're going to see, okay, this strategy really worked, or like, hey, you know what, this failed. And so you could prepare and set yourself up for success. And I don't really know, Lourdes, what the time frame is. Like, hey, should you do it through a whole year so you see the different seasons? Because like you said too, is like in some markets, like I'm assuming, like I was in Myrtle Beach not that long ago, the summer markets are the hottest time, right? So I see how much they charge in rent. I'm like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
crazy. And they probably have no mortgages. And I talked to some people, the people in the area, like they really have small mortgages, but they're charging crazy rent. So maybe in those 3 or 4 months, you might make up the whole year. In other markets, it's steady for the whole year, like maybe by you, where a ton of hospitals are at. So those are things you have to research and keep track of to set yourself up for success. But Laura, to wrap things up, what is one last thing that you want to let the veteran community know as a consideration into going into this model?
Yeah, so definitely check out I'm always paying attention to the rent increases and what is more favorable, who my target market audience is, or not but who's my target tenant. I want to make sure that I have accommodations for that, and I'm always shifting, always watching the market, see what's happening. I have a lot of investor friends who I regularly talk to about these strategies, and we kind of, I'm always pivoting. I'm never stagnant, and I'm always doing my increases when I need to do.
That's awesome. Yeah, never be afraid of that, and do your research and do that market research. So, thanks again for everyone that joined. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Share in the comment section if this is a path that you've been thinking of doing, and if that's the case, what your market looks like. And we'll catch you guys on the next video.